Mark here. I just wanted to do a little video on a product I recently received. It's fairly new to the Canadian market. It was released by NYOS. It's the Torq reactor. It can be used for all kinds of different media, GFO, carbon, biopellets. That's the most popular ones. My delivery came on Friday. I was lucky enough too excited to really do much on it. As soon as I got home, I tore into it and had to check it out. I've been looking forward to this reactor for a while, mainly because I'm just tired of dealing with all the pumps and hoses and O-rings leaking and all the other issues you have with a typical setup for your reactors, like the TLF with the MJ pumps, as most of us use. Now I did pick up two of the NYOS Torq bases and two of the 2.0 bodies, ordered through Sustainable Marine Canada, based out of London there. Now, the body type, it comes with three different body types. It has a 0.75, a 1.0 body, and a 2.0 body, and as such, their capacity is a 0.75, a 1 liter, and a 2 liter. Now, to keep the comparison similar, we'll stick to just the use of carbon. Now, to use the reactors as a single media, because two of the 1.0 and the 2.0 can actually be used to house two different types of media in it. But as a single media reactor, the 7.5 recommends up to about 170 gallons for your tank size. It'll hold around 450 milliliters of carbon. The 2.0 is a 240 gallon with around 850 mils, and the 2.0 is recommended up to a 475 gallon tank with almost a liter and a half, about 1.3 or 1,300 milliliters of carbon, 44 some odd ounces. As a dual reactor, the 7.5 doesn't have that option. Again, you need the 1.0 body or the 2.0 body. At that point, with the 1.0 body, it's recommended around 145 gallons or so. It'll hold... Oh, sorry, that was wrong. I'm sorry. It holds around 120 gallons is what it's recommended for, because it holds about 10 fluid ounces or 300 mils in just the one section. The larger one is up to around 600 mils and recommended at 240 gallons. So when you're starting to combine the media, you can take the 2.0 body, mix your carbon with your GFO, all into one reactor. Recommended total when it's combined, around 240 gallon for your total water volume. It's a pretty good deal to have it in one reactor. So that's how I have it set up, and I'm enjoying it. I have GFO in the bottom carbon in the bottom and GFO in the top. The GFO has an absolute perfect tumble, which I was so impressed with. When I took the top of the reactor off, I just wanted to see how well it was actually flowing through the entire media. Now, once you see the size of the canister there, you'll understand why I wanted to make sure it's flowing through properly. Didn't want any clumping or anything, but once I had it set up to where I like it when it comes to fluidizing the GFO, I had actually put my hand inside the reactor, and you could actually go right into the GFO and not even feel it. It was just perfectly fluidized around your hand. It has a perfect tumble, and it's even throughout the entire diameter of the reactor, so there'll be no clumping. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how that holds up over the next little while. The reactor itself, extremely well built. Everything fits perfectly, albeit nice and snug, which it should be, so it's watertight. Comes apart nicely. I have really not a lot of complaints about it. I'm really impressed with the overall build and design, the quality of the materials and workmanship that went into building it. The NYOS has their own pump that they have in there. Probably the only negative that I have in regards to it at this point is the fact there's no pre-filter before the motor. One thing I was hoping to get away from with the TLF 150 is I always had an issue with that bottom sponge that would get gucked up over time. And then you have to basically dismantle the entire thing to get to that bottom sponge, pull all the media out, clean out the sponge, put it all back together. So I was hoping to see a pre-filter of some sort, so that way you weren't introducing and having the same issue with it. Now, the one advantage about the Torq is the body is just a twist off, so you just twist it right off the base, pull it out, and then the bottom can actually come off and you can access that sponge quite easily. So that's great. It makes it a lot easier come maintenance time if you're having that concern. So it's not really a negative issue, it's just, it wasn't what I was expecting. I really was expecting a pre-filter before the motor. So the motor itself is housed inside the body, it's protected, you're not going to get any fish or anything on there. I would be concerned, with your maintenance, you definitely want to check out the body because of the low flow, and it's a really good location for smaller critters to hide. If you have Astrea snails or anything, they could start to build up on the inside of the base there. So definitely in maintenance, don't forget to open up the base and have a look inside. It's not a lot of maintenance. It's only held in place by two very easy to undo clips. There's no metal screws or titanium screws or anything you need to worry about. You don't need, you dismantle the whole thing just with your hands. So I was very impressed with that. Just takes a couple minutes, and maintenance is going to be a breeze for sure. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this reacts over the next little while. I've had my one up and running since about, actually I think I set it up and got it running Saturday with the 2 filter medias in there, and I've got a second one that I actually purchased that was also delivered that I'm going to be unboxing today when I get an opportunity to stop for a little while. So I'm sure everyone will be really impressed with it. It's top of the line, in my opinion. It's definitely a must. Looking forward to it. I know a bunch of my buddies have ordered them as well. They're all getting delivered today or some point throughout this week. So I'm hoping to get a lot of positive feedback from them as well. But yeah, got a couple more hours of driving to do before I get to my first stop. At that point, we'll readjust the camera, open up the box for the base, open up the box for the body. I'll give a little walkthrough on showing what all the different parts are for, and we'll go from there. At the end, I'll grab a quick clip of how the reactor is working in my tank. It does have to be an in-sump reactor, so keep that in mind. I personally actually have it up inside my 60-gallon Fragtank, which was what my original plan was in the Fragtank. I really like showing off that reactor, so I will follow up in a few minutes, or a few hours I should say. It'll be a couple seconds to you guys, so we'll see you again soon. All right, everybody, I'm all parked, ready to go. So let's see what we got here. We've got the NYOS Torq system reactor for filter media, made in Germany. This is the base. Side, we've got a couple different sample sizes and what's available. All right. To start things out with the base, first open it up, we've got the instruction manual. It's pretty universal for the base and the body. Got the quick start guide. It really is only 2 steps to get things started. And then we've got our cardboard. And we've got our pre-assembled base. It itself has the rubber stops for legs. There's no vibrations that go through. It's a nice long heavy duty cord. I was mentioning earlier how it was easy to open. There are just 2 tabs, one here, and the whole thing just comes apart. And then we have our NYOS Torq pump. We got here 115 volts, 1.3 meters or 3.3 feet head max height on it. It's a pretty good little pump. It is adjustable here, so if you have want to set it a little bit lower, I personally have it completely open on mine, and set it back in the base and line it up. So yeah, it's pretty quick and easy to get to. You've got your 3 spots where the body's going to lock into, and your output of your pump, and your little purple dot. That's what will tell you the markers on the body, how much water pressure you have going through there. So that's it. That's all the base is. Again, no tools, no nothing to worry about. Simple to take apart. Next, we have the NYOS Torq body. Again, this is the 2.0. It's quite large. Same information is available on it. A little bit of the inside information is available on the side of the box on this one. Inside here, we have the same quick start guide as in the base. Appears to be it in this one. So here we've got our tube. Started with the filter cap. Inside of it actually has its own sponge, so that way as the water overflows into it, over into this little lipped area before coming down, none of the media is going to escape and end up in your tank. Body itself, again, nice thick acrylic, quite large. I don't know the diameter off the top of my head, but it's a nice size reactor here. The bottom O-ring holds it in place, but it pops it off nicely. That piece separates, that separates, and then you're left with just the plain base. And with that, that's your adjustments that will allow more or less water to flow into your reactor. It actually is set up to make the water spin as it comes out, which is nice as well. Get some nice circulation on there. Again, everything just fits together. Really nice acrylic parts, really nice sponges. When you put it back together, there's a little notch in the acrylic tube itself, and you'll find a matching one on the base. Line them up properly, and simple as that. Lock it in place, put the top back on. There's nothing particular about putting the top on. All of it's just push and fits. Once to put it together, once you have the base where you want it, just line up the tabs, set it in. You'll also see there's 2 purple marks, one from the tube, one on the body, that will line up. From there, just give the tube a spin and you're in place, and then the body marker you can see ends up being how much flow is closed to all the way open. The solid white dot is all the way open. Coming back the other way turns it down. Now, one of the advantages about this pump is you can not only, plus you can see the markers on the side, but to adjust it, all you have to do is grab it by the top and spin it, and that will also adjust how much flow is going through it without having to get your hands wet or trying to deal with those little ball valves. So all in all, it's a fairly large reactor, as you can see, but it works extremely well. I'm extremely impressed. None of it, it's all plastic, but it doesn't feel plasticky like the cheaply made by any means. I have very strong feelings this is going to last quite a long time, and I'll be using them for quite a while. This particular one I'm going to be using for bio pellets, so I'll be removing probably the sponges and the second media section I'm probably just running it at the base. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep that sponge on there just to stop any of the smaller pellets from falling in, so I might keep the bottom sponge in. And I'll add videos on how well that works for tumbling our bio pellets. So it's a great design. You know, definitely appreciate getting this, picking these up. It'll be a nice addition to anybody's tank and setup. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them below. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions about it, I don't mind sharing any more experiences or letting you know what's going on with them. So until then, hope you keep your floors dry and your fish wet, and look forward to seeing people in the future. Have yourself a good night.